senior in there. For McGlynn, he's a junior. He's averaging just under 12 points a game. Byron Hawkins, Mike Morcell, both true freshmen.
Yeah, and for UNCW, local product Freddie Jackson, who you saw in the open, is going to be a big key. Cedrick Williams getting the start because Towson is such a great rebounding team. They need his body in there for the Seahawks tonight.
And speaking of Freddie Jackson, of course, he did not start against Charleston. He was averaging about 17.5 points a game over a 5-game stretch. He still had 8 points and 9 rebounds, but he was nursing a sore ankle. I guess he's 95, 100% tonight?
Yeah, this time of year, everybody's a little bit nicked up, and I'm sure it did affect whether they started him or not, but it won't affect whether he plays here tonight.
I noticed looking at the lineups when you're going through the lineups for the home team, the Seahawks, Cedrick Williams was back in with the starters. And Addison Spruill, who was the CAA Player of the Week last week, averaging 28, he was not listed.
Yeah, he averaged 28 and 7, was the Player of the Week for the Colonial. Had a great performance at William & Mary, but I think they did that probably for rebound, unless it's something we don't know. Cedrick Williams is a bigger, stronger body in there, and they're going to need that tonight against Towson, one of the top rebounding teams in America.
And speaking of Spruill, he and Craig Ponder are the only two to start all 18 games. It would have been 19, but again, Spruill not in the starting lineup. And for Towson, you talked about rebounding. They're at +8. That is #1 in the CAA. You heard Mark Adams in the top of the show talk about the double-doubles with John Davis. He comes off the bench. Keep out of foul trouble. Is that the reason he does not start?
Yeah, I don't think they want him picking up that quick. He's so aggressive on both ends of the floor. He can pick up a cheap one early and then be sitting for a long time. But if he has less than 3 fouls at halftime, he'll start the second half, I assure you.
Well, Towson coming in at 9-11, 2-5 in the CAA. UNCW 10-8 to 5-2, as you mentioned. If they win tonight, they'll move into a first-place tie. Northeastern beat by William & Mary 78-62 today. They're both 6-2. And James Madison upsetting Hofstra. And this game is underway, controlled by the Seahawks. Matt Oblas, Louis Andrakakos, and Bill Humes blowing the whistle, wearing the striped shirts. And they'll be refereeing this ball game tonight.
For UNCW, you're going to see ball screen, ball screen, ball screen, and drive it. Cedrick Williams inserted in the lineup, pays off right away, and you see the press that you're going to see all night long for the Seahawks.
Yeah, Williams coming in only 136 points shy of joining the 1,000-point club. It'd be a shame if he didn't get to that 1,000-point club.
Yeah, the number one thing Towson can't do is what they did on their first possession, and that's turn the basketball over. And that's what UNCW does. They steal the ball, and they block shots.
Geddes gets the offensive rebound, puts it back up. Speaking of offensive rebound, in that victory 53-51 over Elon, Towson had 23 offensive rebounds in that game.
23 and over 20 for the third time this season. Their ranks in rebounding in the NCAA: 11 in offensive rebounds, 16 in rebound margin, 8 in offensive rebound rate, which is a percentage of misses. They get nearly 39% of the shots they miss, they go get.
C.J. Geddes, the 7-footer from Findlay, Ohio, shooting only 56% from the line, hits the first one. The last 2 games, the Seahawks are up to 73, and obviously they've been working on their free throws.
And UNCW will press. They'll give it a lot of different looks, but they're going to pressure. They want to speed this game up on both ends of the floor.
This is Hawkins, the true freshman out of Fort Washington, Maryland, running the point.
A couple of freshmen going against each other right there with Jordan Talley out of Richmond, Virginia for the Seahawks.
McGlynn gives it up. Foster in the lane, and it's going to be, well, the scrum. I was going to say it was stolen away by the Seahawks. They're going to have a held ball, and the possession arrow pointing towards the Tigers, so it stays on this end.
Yeah, and only 11 on the shot clock, which doesn't reset when the defense forces a jump ball.
Towson coming off the 53-51 victory. UNCW coming off a 58-56 win over College of Charleston. And so the Seahawks now, they've won 5 of the last 6.
2-3 zone on the baseline out of bounds. Let's see if they are aware of the shot clock.
Down to 1. And McGlynn, that's going to be a shot clock violation. Ponder coming up and doing a nice job defensively.
2 turnovers on the first 2 possessions.
All right, Mac, let's take a look at the keys to the game.
Yeah, for Towson, we talked about it. Value the basketball. 2 possessions, 2 turnovers, not the start Pat Scarry wanted, and they've got to stop penetration on the other end. They're going to see ball screen after ball screen after ball screen. UNCW is not a great outside shooting team, but they will drive it until they find a good shot.
See Pat Scarry there in his 4th season, coming off a 25-win season, as you mentioned. Last year they closed the regular season winning 10 of 11, the only loss to these Seahawks of UNCW.
Yeah, they had some tough graduation losses. He's got a lot of nice pieces, some good young players, and they're playing better basketball. And as they get healthier, for instance, the big guy for him coming off the bench, Gavrilovic is healthy tonight for the first time in a couple games. As they get healthy, they've got a chance to be a big factor in this race, even though they're only 2-5 at this point. Seahawks
coming in averaging 71 points a game. That's 4th best in the CAA, but Towson has the best defense as far as scoring defense. They only give up about 63.5. This one goes out of bounds and it stays with the Seahawks. And you see it didn't take long for John Davis to come in the basketball game, and he goes and gets rebounds now. He can't stay inbound on this play, but he is a man on the backboard. Speaking of a man, how about Williams and 1? Well, he hasn't been starting, Coach, but I'll tell you what, he's got his game face on tonight. Yeah, and he's a very good player, despite the fact that he doesn't start. He's actually number 2 in offensive rebounds in the league. He's number 2 in block shots. He's a really good basketball player and contributing, whether he's on the bench, coming off the bench, or starting. Williams, a 58% shooter. Career 47% from the field. Knocks down the free throw, caps out the three-point play. He's got 5 already here tonight. This is Davis. 9 double-doubles, 3 straight. And he almost gets his pocket picked. The Seahawks come in number 1 in the conference. 7 steals and almost 5 blocks a game. Yeah, despite the fact that they're not a great shooting team, they still create some easy opportunities on offense with the steals and block shots. And UNCW already has 5 points off of those turnovers that Towson has to start the game. Foster, nice touch in the lane. Yeah, Walter Foster is getting to start, getting to play. He's a little inconsistent, but he's a face-up kind of guy, but very athletic and very long. This is Jordan Talley, averaging about 11 points over the last 4 games. He broke into that starting lineup. All right, how about Mac's opinion now as far as the keys to the game for the Seahawks? Well, Kevin Keats, 1 through 5 could be block out and rebound. They've got to do that. Towson is great on the offensive glass. The second thing they've got to do is know who the shooters are and communicate to each other when they're in the half court. Kevin Keats in his first season, as Coach pointed out, the best conference start since 2006. That's the last time they won a conference championship, 1 of 4. I'll tell you this, Coach, I was here a couple of years ago, and this crowd was not like this. It's good to see those crowds coming back to see the Seahawks. I've coached in this building a lot of times, and it's a special place when it's full. Nearly full tonight. Really good crowd, leading the Colonial Athletic Association in home attendance. And the more they win, the more they'll come out, and this is a hard place to play. It looks like Trask is back. Wrap your head around this. From 2000 to 2006, they played about 13 home games. During that stretch, Seahawks averaged 12.5 victories at home. That's pretty impressive. You invoke the names of Brad Brownell and Jerry Wainwright around here, and Kevin Keats is trying to live up to those guys' reputation and performance. How about that play right there? Jordan Talley was backing up, but actually looks like he took a push from Josh Ivory, but the foul goes against Talley. That's his first. Yeah, Ivory comes in the lineup. He's stronger with the ball. He's a very good defender, not as good an offensive player as Hawkins, who was starting. Wow, what a touch, what a move by Davis. This guy is really fun to watch. If you haven't seen him, 9 double-doubles, like you mentioned, 3 in a row. Big 16-point, 10-rebound performance in their victory over Elon on Thursday night. Morcell rips down the rebound. The freshman hit the game-winning shot against Elon the other night. Here's Ivory, another lefty. And this one's taken down by Fred Jackson. Williams with the spin down on the baseline. Some heavy traffic. And it's ripped down by Davis again. Boy, he's all over the place. Look out. Stop the ball. Nobody can with Davis with the flush.
You got to stop it in transition, and you better find him. Sometime during the game, we might get a shot at how big this guy's hands are. Long arm and big hands, and he is strong and tough.
He's only 6'5", but he, like you said, he's a monster, huh?
Yeah, he separates. Bodies move when he jumps near the basket.
They had a 7-0 ball game, and now it's 7-6.
Good hedge right there by Walter Foster. But you're going to have to keep hedging because the Seahawks are going to keep on screening for the ball handler.
Williams outside. Offensive rebound. Addison Sproul knocks down his first shot.
Well, he is the hottest player for the Seahawks right now. Came off the bench tonight, but this guy is special too. Another undersized guy, and he and Davis are actually matched up. That'll be fun to watch.
Well, Sproul coming off that 33-point game against William & Mary. We're coming back the other way. So Sproul and Freddie Jackson each with 33-point games. And we're inside 16 minutes, so we're going to take a timeout here from Trask. It's the Seahawks of UNCW opening up a 7-0 lead, and right now it's by 3. It's 9-6. John Davis came off the bench. He already has 4, including that big flush right there. Go back inside Trask Coliseum in Wilmington, North Carolina. The Seahawks up by 3. You mentioned Pat Scarry in his 4th season. No seniors to lean on. And you look at Kevin Keats, not the case for him.
No, and his 3 seniors are a big part of why this team is doing this. They've really bought in. Freddie Jackson, you see the numbers. You saw his improvement. Addison Sproul, one of the hottest players in the Colonial. Cedrick Williams gets the start tonight, among the league leaders in block shots and rebounds. These 3 guys are a big part of why they're able to win this first year for Kevin Keats.
Getting back to Cedrick Williams, too, Coach. I mean, last year he was the leading scorer and rebounder. He had a 3-game stretch early in the season where he was averaging 17 points and 12 rebounds. Then he went 13 games without any double-figure games. So what happens to a player like that?
Well, you know, their roles change, and they're still getting used to a new system. And you don't know what little injuries have come along and changed how they're playing or what they can do and can't do.
Chuck Obodo on the floor now for Kevin Keats. And number 13, Jackson with a hop skip. Finds the open man. Sherwood pulls the trigger from 3. It doesn't go down, and Hawkins clears.
Neither team is afraid to go to the bench and play a lot of people. Already, we talked about it earlier, but 5 points off of 5 turnovers, and that was what Pat Scarry was afraid might happen. But looks like they're trying to settle down now, and they're getting a little bit of a rhythm. And of course, if they can stop UNCW from scoring, then they can't get their press set up.
Well, as we mentioned, they are the #1 scoring defensive team in the CAA. Outside, that's a 3 if it goes. A little bit too strong, and Sherwood pulls it down. Sherwood had 14 off the bench in that upset over Towson last year. As Pat Scarry said, that loss probably cost him the conference championship. A little backdoor action, a little hang time, but can't quite execute. Hey, Davis doing it all, taking it down court, pulls up. And Sproul goes high on the glass.
Yeah, not Davis's real specialty.
Well, you can hit that shot all night long. I mean, I know it didn't go down that time, Coach, but you get inside that free throw line and take that short jumper. Look at Davis. Wow, the stick back doesn't go in the battle. Foster is fouled. He's going to the line shooting 2.
Good job by Foster. He struggled shooting the basketball from the free throw line, shooting only 44%. But he stepped up the other night against Elon with the game on the line and made 2 big ones inside of a minute.
6'8", 230, good size, only a sophomore out of Atlanta. Earlier in the season, Coach, it looked like he was about to break out. Early in January, had double-figure games back-to-back. After not hitting double figures for his first 47.
Very active, very long and athletic, got a huge wingspan, and has just been a little bit inconsistent. And he's also, his minutes have been affected by foul trouble, too.
Hits the first, only 44% from the line. Takes his time and gets both.
That's at least 4 in a row I know of, because I saw the end of the game the other night against D-Line. Big win at the buzzer on the road really helped this team's confidence coming in here. Now, the press is different. When Towson presses, all they're trying to do is slow things down. If you make a mistake, fine, but they just want you to take a little time off the clock.
Seahawk lead down to 1 now, 9-8.
They pressed back into the matchup. The Seahawks will press back into man or back into the matchup 2-3 zone. Towson may play a little bit of zone tonight, but right now they've been all man-to-man in the half court.
Sproul, line drive, shot doesn't go. Good box out that time by Hawkins.
As you mentioned, just a freshman, really talented guy. Great left hand, despite the fact that he's a right-handed shooter, prefers to drive it with his left hand.
For McGlynn, the junior, the leading scorer, has yet to score a bucket. Davis takes it to the rack with a vengeance. He's got 6.
You know, sometimes he looks like he's unstoppable. He can bump you off of him, create some space, and he can reach over you with those long arms and control the ball with those big hands too.
When he puts the ball on the floor, it looks like guys get out of his way. They're afraid of him. It's like a bull coming down. Sproul, nice job finding the opening and just slams it down.
Sproul's really a versatile guy. He can make that 3, but he can also put it on the floor. Again, an unusual size guy. He doesn't really have a position. He's just a really good basketball player. Same as Davis.
They're starting to trade buckets now as Seahawks lost the lead. Now they regain it by 1, 11-10. Seahawks have shot over 50% in 3 of the last 6 games, but coming off their worst shooting performance, at least maybe ever, against College of Charleston.
Yeah, you shoot 25% in a Division I game and still win. You've done a lot of things right, but shooting in one of them, and that's a big foul right there. Jordan Talley is kind of the head of that defense and the offense. Being the point guard, puts a lot of pressure on the ball, but picks up his second foul with 12-12 to go in the first half.
Well, Coach, Freddie Jackson also just went limping off the floor for UNCW. And he's having a terrific senior season, a local product.
4 guys off the bench in the game.
Glenn thought he had it, and a rebound by Williams.
McGlynn really needs to get going, shooting 22% from 3 in league play. When they were winning 7 out of 8, he was shooting the ball really well.
Geddes, the big 7-footer, gets inside, gets the bucket. He's got 4. Seahawks by 3 again.
Grilovich, a really good shooter, a really skilled player. Transfer from Dayton, a graduate student from Dayton.
Goes in strong, and Williams has yet another rebound. So Cedrick Williams might wind up having a double-figure rebounds today for the 13th time this game. It goes out of bounds.
That's impressive. C.J. Geddes running the floor, and they rewarded him. He's lost 30-some pounds.
Addison Sproul, the 6'4", 225-pound senior, did not start. Didn't take him long to get in the scoring column. Flushes down 2 of his 4, and the Seahawks lead it by 3. Well, the Seahawks, winners of 5 of the last 6 games, lead it by 3, 13-10. And as Mac told you earlier, if they win this ball game, suddenly they're in first place, at least a 3-way tie.
3-way tie, 1 game short of halfway through the Colonial Athletic season. Big win for William & Mary over Northeastern today to create that situation. Tony Shaver's got his bunch playing really well up there in Williamsburg.
How about Hofstra losing to James Madison 69-63? Ron Curry with 25. Awanye Green had his 16 and 7, but Amin Tanksley only 5 points. And that's what, 3 straight losses now for Hofstra?
Yeah, 3 out of 4. But we saw them play against Elon. They looked like they might be invincible, and clearly everybody's stepping up their game.
Yeah, Brian Bernardi 2 for 10 from 3 for Hofstra. After watching the game, I didn't think he could go for 2 for 10. Seems like he hits at least every other 3.
Yep, for McGlynn, getting a little attention to his jersey. Got some blood from somebody out there.
Well, Coach, yesterday in practice, you said we're not going to see many threes in this game. So far, they're combined 0 for 5.
Yeah, we're not going to see a lot of made threes. These two teams are last and next to last in made threes. But they just get it done a different way. And, you know, it was great to see the big guy, 7 foot, 275, running the floor, get rewarded for that. But this is going to be a land battle. Closer to the basket, the better.
Well, right now it's 9-7. Towson only +2 on the glass. And again, they're #1 in the CAA at +8s. And UNCW, they come in at +0.6. So we'll just call it even. Or +1. What do you think? Even or +1 on the glass?
Advantage Towson.
Here's McGlynn, still looking for his first bucket, trying to go coast to coast. It's rejected by the 7-footer. I don't think he had to jump that time. And Spruill, he's fouled, and he'll be going to the line shooting a couple.
Yeah, and you know, one of the Towson's things was they had to stop penetration. And anytime you're in transition, you have to stop penetration. But the Seahawks just keep coming at you on the dribble. Their offense ought to be described as a probe. They just probe you and probe you and probe you until they find a weakness.
Spruill with 11 consecutive double-figure games, 4 20-point games. Now, you talk about all the players, the top 4 scorers that Scary lost at Towson. And you talk about the 9 double-doubles that Davis has. Try to wrap around this. Jarrell Benjamin, 21 double-doubles. 2-time CAA Player of the Year. I mean, if you're a coach, boy, you hate to lose a player like that, huh?
Yeah.
Speaking of Davis. And it stays with the Tigers. They thought that Gavrilovic touched it last, but the officials didn't see it that way.
The Trash faithful don't see it that way. 2-3 zone, again on the baseline, out of bounds.
Getting back to McGlynn down there in the corner. 3 times he's knocked down at least 5 threes in a ball game, but the last time was on December 29th when he had 27 points. And they were telling us yesterday that he'll keep shooting, but if he's not hitting, it will affect his game. That was partially deflected. And look who comes up with it.
Guess who got it, though?
Number 10. Well, how about Geddes? He's been aggressive tonight.
Yeah, very aggressive. I think they were challenged by what they were going to face tonight in Towson. He and Cedrick Williams both seem highly motivated.
Ponder tries the 3. And there's a foul down on the baseline. And it's going against the Tigers. It looks like Gavrilovic, the 6'9", 245-pounder.
The Frenchman who went to the IMG Academy and then to Dayton, graduated, and wanted to play one more year of college basketball. Coach Scary had recruited him a little bit when he was at Pittsburgh. Very skilled, but got caught for the foul that time.
Well, Geddes has 2 double-figure games, both against Hofstra. Coach, I don't want to jinx the young man, but right now he's got 6 points. You mentioned the 31 pounds he lost. They say he's added 4 inches to his vertical, but I'm still waiting to see that.
Parker Rivera back in the game for Towson with 2 fouls. He's a really valuable guy to them on both ends of the floor.
Almost another steal. Geddes now 7 points and 4 rebounds. Out of control. Here come the Seahawks. Jackson gives it up. Spruill flushes it down.
The local products combined on a spectacular highlight fast break. This is what Trask used to be like all the time.
I was thinking the same thing. Well, Jackson unselfishly easily could have taken that one in, but Spruill coming off the bench now with 6 points. You know, you look at these two, Sproul and Jackson, each have a 33-point game. Each have 4 20-point games. Check that. Freddie Jackson has 5, but maybe Sproul will catch him here tonight. And their numbers really parallel each other.
You know, and when you're winning, it's so much easier to give that ball up. You know, that's a really good, unselfish play, and you can just feel the spirit of this basketball team. You know, and they've played a lot of close games, and there's a lot of basketball left to be played yet. But they are really confident and feel good about each other right now.
Saw the numbers on Sproul. McGlynn eyes 3, thought he had it. Foster's there to clean up the glass, and they get 3 opportunities, but no, they lost it. Mike Morcell, the freshman, couldn't find the handle. Morcell 4 for 8 in his last game. All 8 of his points coming in the second half against Elon, including the game winner. Seahawks now 7 points off of the turnovers by Towson. Jackson slices through. A little hang time, doesn't go. Hawkins with a long rebound. Hawkins finds the opening. Left hand and one. Beautiful shot by the freshman.
And they drew the foul that time, and this is a big key. You know, UNCW is playing defense, pressuring all the time, and this will only be the 3rd free throw by Towson in the game. 11 minutes into the game. They're number 1 in America. They're number 1 in the Colonial and in the top 10 in America in free throws made and free throws attempted.
Well, against Elon, they certainly had their opportunities. They missed 15 of them. They were 10 of 25, but Hawkins pulls out the 3-point play. And we've got a 6-point ball game. We got it 19.
And we see the zone from Towson, 2-3 zone. They won't match up quite as much as UNCW.
Wow, there's a stick back by Cedrick Williams. He's got 7.
They challenged their guys to be ready for what they were going to see on the backboard.
And there's yet another turnover by the Tigers. Only had 4 turnovers against William and Mary. And right now that's number 8. How about Williams getting it done on the glass there?
Yeah, he is motivated to play against these guys.
Sproul returns the favor. Jackson misses the 3. And chases the rebound, and Foster's charged for the foul. That's what they call following your shot, Coach.
Yeah. The long shots equal long rebounds. And as a defender and as an offensive player, you've got to be aware of that.
So Jackson playing in his 110th game as the Seahawk goes to the line.
Foster picks up his 2nd. Talked about Parker Rivera already having 2.
And Parker Rivera has yet to score, and he's been averaging about 14 points over the last couple of games. First point for Jackson tonight. He said it was going to be a battle.
Yeah, points in the paint, and Wilmington is more than holding their own with a 12-8 advantage at this point in time.
John Davis checks back in with 6 points. Mentioned the 3 straight double-doubles over the last 3 games, averaging about 19 points, 10 rebounds.
Sherwood in for Geddes, and that's probably a response to thinking that Towson may stay in that zone. 101.
Davis. Boy, when he wants to go to the rim, he gets there.
Yeah, and he just uses that body, creates a little space, and is able to get that shot off. He's a really talented player, playing more and more confident. You saw in the open about how much he's improved statistically over last year. Of course, last year he also had mono for a great deal of the season, too.
Yeah, that can certainly slow you down. 23-15, the Seahawks the opportunity to open up a 10-point lead. A missed opportunity, goes out of bounds.
breaking the press, always good to look down the floor. John Davis with the finish.
I was going to say, always good to get the ball in the hands of John Davis, too.
Yeah, he's a good guy to throw it to.
So Sproul picks up his second foul, and the 7th team foul now. Towson has 8. So both teams in the bonus.
And Kevin Keats expressed this yesterday, too. He said, we've got to be able to pressure them the way we like to pressure people, but we've got to do it without putting them on the free throw line. So far, they've done that, but it's starting to pick up a little bit. The numbers are starting to mount up on the foul total.
Well, the front end doesn't go down for Eddie Keith. Yet another freshman for Coach Scarry. Williams, baseline jumper, count it. Williams now 1 point away from a double-figure game, his first in 14 games if he gets it. Davis, the 6'5" Davis playing like he's 6'8", 6'9". He's fouled, and he's going back to the line. He'll be shooting 2. And we're inside 8 minutes, so we're going to take another television timeout. When we come back, John Davis will be at the line. They're trailing by 10, 25-15. UNCW by 10, 25-15. Number 40 right there, Cedrick Williams getting the start and playing very well, Coach.
Yeah, when you get the opportunity to start, you want to make sure you're ready. Cedrick Williams was ready when he got the call tonight. Playing against a big front line, jump hook, up and under. He goes to the offensive glass, gets it in the hole, and he faces up to make the jump shot. His number was called, and he answered.
9 points, 4 rebounds. 37 times he's been in double figures, and he was a preseason All-CAA second-team pick after leading the team in scoring last year.
And you can't talk enough about him and the other seniors that we showed you earlier. That you know, they've really had to do a complete change of mindset of what this basketball program could be, and they've just done an outstanding job. And of course, you know, a lot of the credit does have to go to Kevin Keats and his outstanding staff.
Well, the players certainly bought into what he was selling. They like that open, wide open style. Davis now with 9 points already coming off the bench.
Yeah, and that style will get wider open as he gets more and more good players in the program. He's got 4 transfers sitting out and has a great recruiting class coming in already to try to replace some of these seniors who are giving him good minutes this year.
You know, Coach, we mentioned Davis coming off the bench in a game against Coppin State earlier this year. He had 18 and 7 by halftime. Wound up with 23-14, and that's not starting. Ponder.
The guards for both teams have been a little bit quiet, and that's kind of how we figured it would be.
Well, there's a trip. I think I'm going to call it against Ponder. That's going to be his second.
Eddie Keith, another freshman, another really talented guy for Pat Scarry, a guy he thinks is going to be really good. He's a really good passer, playing a lot of point guard. He's a big point guard at 6'5", 220 pounds out of Orlando Edgewater High School.
Only 54% though from the line. Again, Pat Scarry losing his top 4 scorers from last year.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the fact that they've made more than everybody in the country. They attempt more than anybody in the country, but they don't shoot a great percentage.
That's a good point. As a team, 66%. Boy, against Elon, 1 for 11 from 3, 10 of 25 from the line, but they were plus 14 on the glass.
They still found a way to win, and you know, some of UNCW stats look the same. But again, you know, they do have the blocks and steals to kind of carry him and get him some good shots. Towson back to man-to-man.
Ponder out of Hargrave Military Academy. We'll talk more about Hargrave with their head coach Kevin Keats later in the broadcast. This one pops out, and the whistle, the foul. Looked like the ball was out of bounds, but it looked like they called the foul. Tomas Parker Rivera picks up yet another foul. I think that's going to be 3 on him, and he's yet to score.
Well, Parker Rivera just came back in the game along with Foster.
Oh, excuse me, it wasn't on him. I think Just called it out of bounds.
Cedrick Williams showing why he's the second number 2 offensive rebounder in the Colonial Athletic Association.
Certainly making the most of his minutes tonight, getting back in that starting rotation.
Giving the Seahawks another 35 seconds to get a good shot.
Williams, bingo. He's in double figures with 11. See, 12-3 now on second chance points.
And you would have thought going into the game that would have been a category that Towson would dominate. Says a lot about what UNCW has done on the defensive glass.
Well, Pat Scarry says that's our identity. Defense and go to the glass.
It's like a shark feeding frenzy usually when it goes up on their offensive rim, but UNCW has done a good job of either keeping them from getting it or at least keeping them from converting those offensive rebounds.
Yeah, the last game we talked about the poor shooting performance for the Seahawks at College of Charleston, but they did come up with 16 offensive rebounds in that game and probably saved them as they went in overtime. They're 3-0 this year in overtime games, which is very impressive. And you can see the Seahawk team, as you mentioned, Kevin Keats, whatever he's selling, they're buying, and it seems like with each passing game they get more and more confidence. It grows.
Yeah, we mentioned they're 5-2, and in the 2 losses, they led those games at halftime at William and Mary by 20 before losing that game.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, that's tough to lose though when you're up by 20, huh? Kind of like the Packers losing when they're up by 12 with 4 minutes to go.
Oh, that sounds personal. You being a big Packer fan.
Who, me? Jackson slices through the defense to no avail. Parker Rivera gives it up. You know he's going left. But when you know the guy's going left and he still averages a double-double, that's impressive.
Good job, though, contesting that time.
Morcell clears. 27-16 as we approach the 5-minute mark here in the first half. There he goes to the left again. He kisses it off the window.
Not missing 2 in a row. He backed Dylan Sherwood down, and that looked pretty easy right there.
He's in double figures with 11. Williams has 11 for UNCW. Jackson still looking for his first field goal. Might come right here. Well, line drive.
Got to where he wanted to, but he didn't look like he was particularly on balance that time.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow. The parting of the sea.
Yeah, exactly. We had a great view of that.
Yeah, we sure did.
That's exactly what it was, the parting of the seas.
Wow.
Little Linda Ronstadt move there. Blew by you.
I swear. It's like when Mike Tyson used to fight people. People were afraid to get in the ring. When Davis gets in the lane, everybody jumps out of the lane. Getty backs his man down, and the ball is taken away by the freshman Morcell.
Really good defender, really good athlete, playing with more confidence all the time.
Oh, Tomas Parker Rivera thought he had his first bucket.
Yeah, we talk about Morcell and his confidence. He made the game-winning shot with 1.7 left in the Elon game on Thursday night.
6'7" junior, averaging 14 and 8.5 rebounds over his last 2 games. Looking for his first point. Still looking for his first point.
He's been in foul trouble, but he just hadn't gotten in any kind of rhythm. And again, I think the UNCW defense has something to do with that.
6'7". They say he's added close to 35 pounds of muscle since arriving on campus. Wow, that's frustrating. And got it halfway down and it pops out. Tigers still only trailing by 7 though at the 3:50 mark. Boy, nice move by Freddie Jackson as he takes it down to the baseline.
Really good athlete. Has really come into his own this season. A really confident player and always been capable of the big game, but now he doesn't have those bad games. He's consistently good each and every night.
Parker Rivera out of control. There's a charge. Another foul on Parker Rivera.
His third, and He did a good job of getting by his guy, but the help side came across and drew the charge, just like Kevin Keats draws it up.
Well, John Davis is keeping the Tigers in this game. They're trailed by 9. Davis with 13 points.
You need to get in front of him, regardless of the circumstances. You've got to cut him off, Mike.
Well, John Davis with 9 double-doubles. And, Coach, I'd bet that winning lottery ticket you got today that he's going to get his 10th here tonight.
The 6'5", 215-pound sophomore out of Philly can do it a lot of ways. If you have 9 double-doubles and you've had 3 in a row, you're playing with a lot of confidence. The soft jumper, the good touch, and the finish. Make contact, take the contact, get the ball in the basket. John Davis is having another outstanding game.
Started the season off with a bang at Alabama with his first double-double of the season. And like I said, if I was a betting man, I'd say number 10 is sitting here in Trask Coliseum tonight before they close the books on this game. 29-20, Seahawks lead it by 9 with 3:29 to go here in the first half. This is Jackson.
The ball screen that time they could switch it. They switched it back.
Kevin Hickson down in the post now. Hickson, one-time scholarship player at Wofford out of Charlotte, walked on here. And this one's rejected by Morcell.
Morcell's a good-looking athlete. He has over a 7-foot wingspan at 6'5", and he'll be the starting 2 guy before this thing is over. Maybe not this year, but in his career.
Yeah, I was wondering, he definitely could see that those long arms. Boy, 7'1" on a 6'5" player.
That's helpful in a lot of situations, especially on the defensive end where you saw him block that shot.
Williams misfires, and this one's taken down by Foster. Yeah, the last time UNCW was in the NCAA tournament, they opened with George Washington. And some of the players said facing George Washington was like facing a bunch of spiders because they had such long arms. That's looks like Morcell with those long arms. There's a whistle. And this one's going to go against the Seahawks.
You keep sending, even though Towson is only 4 for 10 from the free throw line, you don't want to keep sending them to the free throw line.
Hickson commits the foul, and that's number 10, so it's a double bonus now for Foster.
And you've got Talley on the bench already. You got Sherwood with a couple fouls.
But you can just see his body language when that didn't go down. You're 44%. He thought he had it. Spun out.
Yeah, and he had made several and was feeling pretty good about it. Stroke looks okay.
Yeah.
Probably just a matter of confidence and experience. And
missed that one too. There's a whistle. Is it a lane violation? Well, Foster missed them both, but he's going to get another opportunity. Apparently either Sherwood or Geddes moved into the lane a little bit too quick.
We'll see if he can go for the hat trick or break this streak.
It's popped out again.
Wow.
Are you sure Kevin Keats doesn't have a wire?
4 for 12 from the free throw line now for Towson. That's 8 misses and a 9-point deficit.
Jackson crossover. Oh, looks inside, and Hickson. There was an opening just for a millisecond, and Hickson can't come down with the handle.
Looks like a good play. He created some help, drew his man to him, but he couldn't complete the pass.
Mentioned Hickson starting off at Wofford. He had some injury problems. He was playing intramural basketball here at UNCW and just having a good time when one of the assistant coaches for Kevin Keats actually stopped him on campus and said, hey, there are going to be some tryouts. And here he is playing college basketball again.
A big W tattoo on that arm. I don't know if that's Wofford or Wilmington, but right. I guess he'd say Wilmington right now, wouldn't he?
He better. Look at Davis, goes to the left again, and there's the stick back by Eddie Keith.
Yeah, again, a 6'5", 220-pound freshman. And that's a culture. Offensive rebounding is a culture, and that's what Pat Scarry has taught, and taught it really well.
You mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. Both coaches have some transfers sitting and waiting for next season. We're looking for Geddes inside. Jackson, now that's twice that his passes have gone out of bounds.
Yeah, and Towson has a good one sitting out that you mentioned.
So you look at the turnovers now, 9-5. That was 9-1 at one juncture.
Yeah, and Towson had 7 really, really early. So they've cleaned their offensive ball handling, value in the basketball. They've cleaned that up.
.60 seconds to go in the first half. Open look. Morcell, kind of a drifting jumper, and Geddes rips down another rebound. Last touch by the Tigers. That'll be UNCW basketball.
That's exactly the jump shot that he made to win the game the other day. The little floater from about 15 feet. So now we've got 20 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock, and Kevin Keats is going to use this opportunity to take that timeout that doesn't carry over into the second half to let him know what he wants to do, whether he's going to go 2 for 1 right here like you would in the NBA, try to get a quick shot up and get 2 possessions for 1, or whether he just wants to play this thing out.
Well, a victory tonight, as you mentioned, a 3-way tie at the top of the CAA, but also pushed the Seahawks 3 games over 500 for the first time. And I asked him yesterday after practice, I said I didn't want to use the word exceed your expectations, but in his first season sitting at 5-2, he said, you know what, non-conference part of the schedule doesn't count because it's so different with each school, but their goal right now was to get a better record than they had last year in the CAA. They've already surpassed that, so now the goal is to just keep it going. But I don't think they expected to be sitting in first place with a victory tonight.
I don't think so, and that's why they were picked 9th in the preseason poll. But the Colonial is really up for grabs. A very tight race, and we've seen a lot of the teams now, almost everybody, and there's not a lot of difference between the top teams and the bottom teams.
Well, Pat Scarry only down by 7 right now, and it seems like UNCW has played the better first half, with the exception of John Davis, of course.
Y'all's playing it out, trying to make sure they get a really good look at the rim.
Wow, Ponder just sliced through the defense for his first bucket.
And he's very patient this half and really did a nice job right there.
Davis, so that's deflected by Hickson, and Geddes rips it down. 20 seconds to go. Sherwood misses the 3. Jackson pulls down a big offensive rebound.
Yeah, Coach Keats didn't want that shot. He wanted to take the last shot of the half, and it turned out fine. He's going to get it right here.
And it doesn't go down. There's the buzzer. We've played 20 minutes. Well, Coach McCarthy, your thoughts on the first 20 minutes?
Kind of like we thought. The Seahawks forced a lot of turnovers earlier. Towson cleaned that up. Their rebounds weren't as big a factor because UNCW really did a nice job of battling them on the backboard.
Well, Williams with 11 points. Davis 13 points, 8 rebounds already. And Geddes, the 7-footer, with 7 points, 7 rebounds. It's 31-22. Our ASN halftime report is coming up after this. Right now, and again, keep in mind, if UNCW wins the basketball game, they're in a tie for first place. As you look at the big scores in that first half of Williams getting the start, Davis coming off the bench.
Yeah, he's not coming off the bench for the second half because he has less than 3 fouls, so he'll get the start, and they'll see if they can get a full 20 minutes out of him.
13 points, 8 rebounds in that first half, took 14 shots coming off the bench. Really, he's the only one that's done anything offensively for Towson to keep him in this basketball game. Tally, nice look. Geddes missed the shot. Geddes with 7 points and 8 rebounds in that first half.
Yeah, he had a really good first half along with Cedrick Williams, who we showed you there, and they went back to Geddes right there, and he just couldn't finish the play.
Foster comes right out and knocks down his first shot.
Yeah, he is such a talented guy. Just been very, very inconsistent, in a lot of foul trouble, but that's what he is. He's a 15-foot face-up shooter and a really good athlete.
You know, Coach, you talk about John Davis and his double-doubles, but Tamaj Parker-Rivera had 14 points, 11 rebounds in the last game. 0 rebounds, 0 points. I don't think Pat Scarry was expecting that.
No, not at all. And not only did he not play really well, but he also got in foul trouble, which, you know, limited his opportunities to do that. But I wouldn't expect that out of him in the second half. This is a really talented guy.
Over and back, another turnover. That's 6 now on Kevin Keats. Seahawks, where they open up conference play with a loss to Hofstra. It was their 4th straight with Northeastern sitting on the horizon. Northeastern picked to win the league. And then all of a sudden they won 5 of 6. And as Mac pointed out, they lost to William & Mary by 4 after leading by 20.
And you don't want, if you're UNCW, you don't want to come out here in the second half and let them just hang around. You want to go ahead and stretch that lead, and right now that's not happening. Towson coming out ready to play 2-3 zone on the baseline out of bounds.
Foster turns. And the rebound's taken down by Williams. He had 8 rebounds in the first half, so he's flirting with a double-double.
Really been active and rebounded that in a crowd.
Boy, Jackson. Nice crossover. Geddes with a little flip.
Went to the other side of the rim.
I think I saw that 4-inch improvement on his vertical on that shot. Geddes thought he had all ball. They're going to call the foul. Let's go back and take a look at Geddes do a little dance underneath.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to go up on the right side of the basket, and instead, there's that vertical you talked about.
4-inch improvement.
Went to the other side of the rim and used the rim to keep the defenders from getting to the basketball. Davis, meanwhile, realized he had an advantage and took it right at Geddes and didn't get the basket and didn't get the ball in the basket, but got to the free throw line.
Mentioned his 3 straight double-doubles. He had 4 double-doubles in a 5-game stretch earlier. Knocked down both free throws, so he's got 15. Now 5 players have had double-doubles against the Seahawks this year, and he's going to be number 6.
Towson missed 9 free throws in the first half, so that's a good start for Davis, making those first 2 opportunities in the second half.
This is Williams. Out on the low block, kisses him out the window and 1.
And another foul on Parker Rivera. He just can't get out of his own way today. But a really nice move, a balanced move, and a real patient move. Watch him take his time. Really good play by Cedrick Williams. Having a huge night here in front of a big crowd at Trask.
You know, Coach, we talked about the fact that all these players really adapted to the wide open style of Kevin Keats. And is it because Cedrick Williams is more talented in the half-court game? Is that why his numbers have struggled a little bit?
I don't think it's as much that as just the combinations they can put on the floor. Sproul's a little bit more of a perimeter guy, and he can play the 4 despite the fact that he's only about 6'4", 6'5". So I think it's more just a combination thing. But Cedrick Williams is getting himself some more time right here tonight.
Well, Talley had to kick it in the 6th gear. Wound up about 5 rows up in the bleachers.
Talked about Talley didn't get to play a lot in the first half. He got in foul trouble, the freshman out of Richmond in Rico County High School, and then Fishburne Military, where he played for Ed Huckabee.
Gavrilovic getting the start here in the second half for Pat Scarry. That's Gavrilovic with the ball. Hawkins, top of the key. Backs it up. McGlynn not even on the floor. McGlynn scoreless in that first half. He's their leading scorer. There's a block. Talley. Transition. A little bit too deep. Another steal. Behind the back. Geddes. There's a block. And Geddes follows it. He's fouled. He'll be shooting 2.
Jump ball.
Oh, jump ball. Excuse me.
We talked about the steal. UNCW has in the CAA 3 of the top 10 steal getters. Jackson, Talley, and Ponder all in the top 10. That leads to some of those turnovers that are happening. A block on the other end.
Good hustle by Jackson. Almost knocked it out of bounds for another steal. I should say, almost knocked it out of bounds, or got another steal, I should say. I guess to clarify that. Morsell showing off his ball handling skills. 9 on the shot clock now for the Tigers.
See if they go high ball screen. They turn the screen down.
Hawkins with 3, rings it up, and we have a 3. That's the first 3 of the ball game.
And Byron is one that can make it, but he is a streaky guy. 16 for 60, only shooting 26% on the year. Despite being a good free throw shooter, almost an 80% free throw shooter as a freshman.
Yeah, he was only 2 for 12 against Elon, but 2 key buckets in the second half. Geddes won't go down. There's another offensive rebound. And another stick back by Williams. He's got 15 points.
These guys, Williams and Geddes, really are playing well against a really good front line for Towson.
10 offensive rebounds now for UNCW against a very, very good rebounding club.
And 14 points off of those 10 offensive rebounds.
Morsell. There's another 3. So just like that, the Tigers, I guess you said we would see a 3, but they've got back-to-back.
Yeah, and Morsell, we talked about how talented this guy is, and he's a very confident guy for a freshman, too. Doesn't play like a freshman in terms of his offensive ability. Occasionally plays like a freshman on the defensive end, even though he's very, very talented.
Oh, there's a wide-open shot right there for Ponder. Still looking for the post player. There's Williams. Now Jackson will take it.
Do we have another?
Davis rips down the rebound. Hawkins with a left hand off the window and 1.
You know, we talked about Hawkins loving to drive left. He's a right-handed player, but everything outside of everything other than a three-point shot, he shoots the ball left-handed, just like he did right there.
Let's take another look at this one, Coach. Hawkins down with 8.
Shot fake. You got to make him go right, even though he's right-handed. Take the contact, concentrate, and finish.
Three-point ball game now, 37-34. We talked about Northeastern getting beat by William and Mary, 78-62. Earlier today. So William and Mary and Northeastern both at 6-2. That's exactly where the Seahawks of UNCW would like to get at the end of the night. There you see the standings. And Hofstra now 5-3 after losing another ball game. Hofstra goes down to James Madison, 69-63. And Hawkins with a chance for the three-point play. He got it, and he's got 9.
And we've got us a ball game, 37-35. The good start for Towson here in the second half. Knocked down a couple threes. And a couple threes make a lot of difference when there weren't any in the first half.
Baseline jumper. Spruill comes off the bench again, knocks it down. He's got 9. So what was the message that Coach Scarry gave his team at halftime?
Oh, I don't think they were doing much wrong once they started taking care of the basketball, but they've got to be more productive on the offensive glass, and we haven't seen that yet. But they're handling the pressure, getting good shots, and they've made a couple threes now.
Open man, baseline, 3 doesn't go. Williams with his 11th rebound, and Spruill. Spruill in double figures for the 12th consecutive game. There's a timeout called by Pat Scarry. The Towson bench before that last timeout, they were issued a warning over there for a coach running out on the floor.
This is outstanding basketball by UNCW. They missed the 3. Williams gets an offensive rebound. Spruill working for position. I'm not sure whether they'll give that to Williams or Spruill.
14-10 to go. Cedrick Williams with his 7th double-double. We're back after this. .41-35 here at UNCW as we check the scoreboard once again. That second game, William and Mary, 78-62. Everything in that game was close except the final score. Kind of misleading, actually, huh?
Yeah, the game was a lot closer. I got to watch quite a bit of that. And William Mary is we know how talented they are, and Northeastern predicted to win the league.
James Madison gets 25 from Ron Curry. They knock off Hofstra, and there's the standings again. Northeastern, William and Mary at 6-2. UNCW hoping to get there tonight.
They made a big play right there before that timeout. That was a big answer. They had cut the lead to 2. Towson had done a good job of coming out of the locker room ready to go. But 2 offensive rebounds it took, but they got it in the basket. And I still don't know who scored the basketball, whether it was Cedrick Williams or Addison Sproul.
I think they gave it to Sproul with the stick back. But Williams does have the double-double. His 3rd this year, 7th of his career. Getting the start for Kevin Keats. And McGlynn back on the floor now for Pat Scarry. Davis wills it in.
Nice pass by Keith, the freshman. He's always got his head up. He plays like a point guard, even though he's got a body of almost a power forward. Seahawks always probing.
There's Williams. Little step back this time. Looking for his 19th point. He's got 17 points, 13 rebounds.
He can make that shot. I like him better going to the rim, though.
There's a whistle and a foul going against the Seahawks. I believe it's going to be Williams.
McGlynn made that after the whistle, but I think he was even glad to make that, even though it didn't count.
You know, they got Williams for 17. Maybe they did give him that last bucket, not Sproul.
They may have changed it. The PA announcer gave it to Sproul.
There's a 3. Boy, McGlynn, his first bucket, he leads. That's his 35th, but he's really been struggling.
Yeah, and if somebody does get hot from 3, and they've made 3 so far this half, that would make a big difference in this game.
And it certainly can change the complexion of a ball game, no doubt about that. Sproul, there's a 2. So now he's in double figures.
Coming off 2 great games where he averaged 28 and 7.
Hawkins lines up a 3, doesn't go down.
You can't double clutch it. You got to shoot it.
Ponder. Wow, there's a goaltending. Ponder with a little shake and bake move in the lane. Boy, Ponder, the redshirt junior out of Hargrave Military Academy, he's gotten from 4 points to nearly 11 a game this year.
Who was his coach up at Hargrave?
Wow, John Davis with another flush. Well, Kevin Keats, of course, was. I'm not sure who the coach was when Ponder was there.
I think it was Kevin Keats.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, and he's only a redshirt junior, and Keats spent, what, 3 years at Louisville?
Yeah, he could have been the one who recruited him, maybe, but they have a history anyway. Towson that time really did a good job. They broke the press and went ahead and attacked. They didn't try to set it up. But when they've got the numbers and go to the rim, that really helps them.
It's a good point you bring up about Keats and Ponder having a relationship or a history. When Keats was on campus, and Jimmy Bass, the athletic director, a good friend of yours, they ran into Ponder. That's the first player they ran into, and Keats said, "Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody." And he kept his mouth shut. Didn't tell a soul. There's a whistle on the foul, so Williams should be going back to the line with 17 points. So John Davis picks up his first foul, but he's got 19 points in the ball game. 11:57 to go. We've got a 3-point game again, Coach. (45-42). You see Pat Scarry there in his 4th season, one-time Coach of the Year in the CAA. His 2nd season when he won 18 games after winning just 1 the first year. Kevin Keats, well, 10 years at Hargrave Military Academy, 2 national prep championships, 3 more runner-up, Final Four twice with Louisville, national championship with the Cardinals. So this guy, he's got quite the resume.
Pretty good bloodlines from both these guys, and coaches make a difference. They can make your program, and both these programs are in good hands.
Cedrick Williams, 17 points, 14 rebounds in the game. His career high is 15 rebounds. Knocks them both down. Impressive for a 58% shooter. 19 points down. It's a 47-42 game.
Yeah, when you make some and you've played well, you play with a lot more confidence. It's easier to make those free throws.
You know, Mac, we talk about the identity of this Towson team, defense and rebounding. They won back-to-back games earlier this year, scoring in the 50s, held 3 straight opponents in their 40s, and we still have 11:42 to go. I thought this game would be a little bit lower scoring. We're going to get probably up in the 60s, maybe 70s here tonight.
Wilmington wants this game to be played at a high rate of speed. Not necessarily high scoring, but they want this game to be up and down the floor. They think they have an advantage in that style of play.
4th team foul. It's a shooting foul, however. Number 5, Walter Foster, at the line with 6 points. Misfires again from the stripe. But you can just see it written all over his face. 44% shooter. He had a couple that pop out already. You could just see the frustration and the confidence waning.
Yeah, the body language is not what you'd want it to be if you're Pat Scarry, but that'll come with experience if you'll keep working at it.
Ponder rips it down, and Talley will start the offense now for the Seahawks.
We mentioned played at Fishburne in the same league as Hargrave up in Virginia.
Hop, skip, and a jump by Sproul, and kisses it off the window, and he's fouled.
Yeah, he and Davis are amazingly like each other, about the same size. Sproul a little bit more of a face-up perimeter kind of guy, but both of them use their body really, really well in creating space for their shots.
It seems like every time Davis goes to the left and Sproul goes to the right, but they're still successful. Boy, the free throw shooting right now, very impressive for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and Towson, it continues to be a struggle. They've missed 9 in a pretty close basketball game. That can be critical.
12 of 15 from the charity stripe now for the Seahawks with 11:15 to go.
Ponder doing a good job of pressuring McGlynn. Ivory back in at the point now.
Another steal for the Seahawks. Ponder flushes one down. He's got 6.
Those mistakes are hard to come back from.
The 6'1" guard showing some hops, coach.
Ponder hadn't had a lot of chances, but a nice play by Ivory turning the ball over. McGlynn didn't meet the pass. Ponder made him pay.
So Ponder, we mentioned 4 points a game, averaging almost 11, 10.7. That gives him 6. 42% from the floor, 48% this year from downtown.
Yeah, he's number 10 in the CAA in steals, behind 2 of his teammates, Jackson and Talley. But a really big play right there to stretch that lead back to 10. That we'll have to see if Towson can answer that, because that was a pretty big body blow right there.
You mentioning Ponder from Hargrave and all the success that Keats had. I'm not sure if Gary McCullough got that graphic built, but boy, what an impressive list of players that he had. Hargrave military. It went on to the NBA, huh?
Yeah, he's got more than 24 players that went on to big-time colleges and the NBA. Not just turning out Division I guys, and there were some notable guys left off that list. It's pretty impressive to recruits coming into his office.
You have Ponder. You have a recruit coming in next year from Hargrave military, Trey Grundy. Grundy, a 6'6" forward. Well, the crowd loves it now as Tigers call the timeout. It's going to be UNCW basketball when we come back at 10:46 to go. And now they pushed it to 10 again. You know, we've got 10:46 to go. The reason I mentioned that, Coach, is I was just told that's their last timeout.
Yeah, that's tough but better than losing a possession right there. You can deal without the timeouts. It may hurt them later in the game, but it was the right thing to do right there, to call that timeout and try to get them settled down. And they're going to get some other guys back in the game and try to get this press under control. Just like Towson is on the offensive glass, like a feeding frenzy, that's how UNCW is in their press. And you turn it over one time, they get even more energy and even more active in that press. Moments ago, we saw the crowd here inside Trask Coliseum, and
UNCW actually lead in the CAA in home attendance this year. And again, I mentioned that it's good to see the crowd back out, because you mentioned it earlier how they used to pack this place when they were good back in the Brett Blizzard days.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the Colonial doing a lot of things with their facilities. I was talking with Coach Scary about their facility. I coached in the old facility at Towson, saw the other one on TV, and what a nice place that is. And they've made some major improvements here under Jimmy Bass, and I'm sure Kevin Keats will be pushing for even more. But the big thing they have here, it's full. And when you fill this place up, it's a special home court.
Well, the big guys playing special too. You said they had to come to play in the paint. Right now it's 30-22. Seahawks +8 in the paint against the very physical Towson basketball team. Back to 10, but every time I turn around, it seems like Towson climbs back in, cuts it to 4 or maybe 3.
Big possession, cutting it back to single digits would be a big answer right here.
7 on the shot clock for Hawkins. 4. Morcell lost the rock, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. Credit the defense there.
Really good defensive possession by Kevin Keats' guys.
That's scary. Had back-to-back winning seasons for the first time since 1992-93. 12 turnovers now for the Tigers. They come in averaging about 13 and a half, almost 14.
Yeah, and UNCW only averaging 10 in league play, 14 overall, but they've really started taking better care of the basketball once they got into CAA play.
Ponder rises, knocks down a 3 for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and a really mature Ponder. You know, he was struggling offensively, wasn't getting a lot of looks, drove it, made a few, and now he feels good about shooting the jumper.
That's his 25th from long range, one behind Freddie Jackson now for the team lead. Talley picks up the foul. 5 on UNCW now with 9:49 to go.
Fouls haven't been as big a factor here in the second half. Neither team very close to the 1-1 yet with 9 minutes to go in the second half.
There's Davis. A little hesitate, a little ball fake, and
he's got a lot of moves. He's got a lot of moves. None of them like traditional moves, but you know, when you've got those long arms and big hands and that body of his, he really has a nice touch. And Towson's showing a little 2-3 zone.
Yeah, Pat Scary's saying with John Davis, you might want a bigger guy. You might want a guy with better skill. But Davis says he gets the job done, and that might be an understatement. He's got 21 tonight. There's a whistle down on the baseline, a little traveling music. And the Tigers will have the basketball again.
Yep. Down 11, 9 minutes to go. Just need to have good possessions and take better care of the basketball and keep this crowd out of the game. You turn it over, the crowd gets excited as well as the Seahawks.
Sherwood checks back in. Dylan Sherwood, the redshirt junior, out of New York. Talley goes out. And we move inside 9 minutes.
You know, Sherwood comes in usually when Towson goes to a zone defense because of his shooting expertise.
Whistle away from the ball. So Spruill picks up number 3. 16 fouls now on UNCW.
They mix it up this time. They usually play 2-3 baseline out of bounds. Now they're man-to-man.
Hawkins with the basketball. Boy, he's been known to go on some personal runs, too. A couple of 8-0 runs earlier this year. And one run, he had an 11-0 run in a victory earlier this season.
You know, Coach Scary would love to get the ball in the hands of Davis or Parker Rivera. But Foster helps out that time. Walter Foster, the big 6'8" sophomore out of Atlanta. Booker T. Washington High School.
He's got 8. 55-46. We're inside 8.5 minutes. Williams, open look. Can't leave him open there. He loves that shot. He's got 21, so he and Davis are having a little game of horse going on here.
You got to make him do something from there. You can't just let him have an uncontested look.
Well, Morcell close to an over and back.
Dribble weave out front. Couldn't gain an advantage.
Shot clock inside 10 again, down to 7. Foster from 16. Nothing but net. So Foster with back-to-back buckets.
You can see his confidence growing too. Yeah. Very comfortable shooting that little face-up 15-footer. Made his first 2 free throws tonight. His last 2 free throws the other night against Elon on Thursday.
Nothing like making a couple of buckets to put some extra hop in your step, huh? There's a 3. And he's fouled.
And Parker Rivera, that's his kind of night right there. Not only does he give up the 3, he also fouls the guy for his 4th foul of the night.
Well, that's a tough one. So Dylan Sherwood knocks down a 3, his first bucket. You know, Coach, he closed the season strong last year, opened up this season. His first 2 games, he was 8 for 12 from long range. And then he had 9 threes over the next 13 games.
Yeah, and that was by correction on my part. That was Parker Rivera's 5th foul. Just hadn't gotten anything going. And fouls a 3-point shooter, which you just never do. And fouls out of the game, which really hurts Towson's chances down the stretch.
Yeah, Parker Rivera, 14 points, 11 rebounds in the last game against Elon. Zilch, no points in this ball game after averaging 14 over the last 2. 1 rebound, no points. 7:17 to go. We're going to step away. Seahawks now up by a dozen, 60-48. Seahawks up 60-48, and we have Dylan Sherwood going to the line with a chance for the 4-point play after he was fouled by Tomaj Parker Rivera. Rivera goes to the bench with 5 fouls. And so Pat Scarry is a -1 player with 7:17 to go.
Yeah, and an important player. Not only is he a good rebounder and a good defender, but he's also an offensive threat. He really never got on track, got anything going tonight because he didn't get any rhythm because he wasn't on the floor very many minutes. But that certainly hurts Towson's chances here tonight in Wilmington, North Carolina.
See the frustration as he bites on that jersey. Sherwood, he's only been to the line 5 times. He's hit 3. So safe to say he's a perimeter player. Huh?
Yeah, he's a very good 3-point shooter, shooting 45% on the year, and made a big one right there to extend the lead to 13.
Here's Davis. He's got 21. Puts the ball on the floor. Comes back with a left hand. Doesn't go. The tip doesn't go. Spruill pulls down the rebound. Wants to run the break. Spruill to Jackson. Oh, the crowd wanted it in the worst way.
And he's had a couple like that tonight. That thing did a couple laps. A little NASCAR going right there.
Jackson with 26 threes on the year. He leads the team in that category. But he knows Ponder's catching up. So yeah. Spruill with 14 points off the bench. He picks up his 4th with 6:52 to go.
Yeah, you know, he was trying to deny the ball in bounds, but wasn't the time to do that right at that point in time. But they kind of got tangled up. You know, kind of silly foul that puts him on the bench. Or I think we'll put him on the bench.
Looks like Ponder's going to check in. Keith chases down his own missed shot. Hawkins misses from 3, and there's the reaching foul.
That's why people get out of John Davis's way right there.
Right. That's only Davis's 2nd foul.
And now for the rest of the game, Towson will be picking up full court. Not their specialty, but they do have some long athletic guys. see if they can speed UNCW up.
There's the steal. It's paid off so far, and well, Sherwood with the block, but he commits the foul, so Hawkins will go to the line shooting 2. And this freshman is a 79% shooter.
Good job right there in the double team. Sometimes teams that press a lot, like UNCW, don't like to be pressed. You would think working against it every day in practice that they would be pretty good against it, but right there, Towson was able to get one back.
So Hawkins is 79% shooter, and the free throw shooting woes for Pat Scarry continue.
That just drives you crazy. You do everything right and can't make an unguarded shot from 15 feet. Makes coaches have gray hair. Have you seen any gray hair coaches?
Well, one right over there, Pat Scarry. He said 10 of 25 in the last game, and against William & Mary, they missed 13 free throws. They said if we stop giving up some threes and hit some free throws. Well, the big guys backing down. They're going to call the block on the freshman, Eddie Keith.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one again, wouldn't you, Mike?
Well, Keith thought he had position.
He rather emphatically thought he had position.
Ooh. Well, 275 pounds. He bounced. And you pointed out that Keith goes 220. And I don't think there was much flopping or acting going on there.
There's a lot of contact.
Well, Geddes could have had a double-figure game, but he missed the free throw.
He's played really well tonight.
Foster goes up, whistle before the shot. Looked like he stepped on the. Well, it's going to be the foul on number 4, Jordan Talley, the freshman.
He really hasn't gotten going tonight either. He's been in and out of the lineup with foul trouble.
So Towson back at the line. 8 of 21 so far tonight, Coach.
Yeah, and you know, literally the difference in the game.
Yeah.
You know, and coaches, you know, get questions all the time. Well, why don't you work on it? Well, they all do work on it. Let me assure you. You know, and players work at it too. But it can be contagious, whether it's a good shooting team or a bad shooting team. That can be contagious.
And you know, you talk about consistency at the line. Foster's consistent. He shoots it the same way every time. They just they aren't going in. Whistle away from the ball.
Yeah, caught Hawkins trying to hold up Cedrick Williams down on the block. You just got to fight around without fouling him right there and hope they throw it away trying to get it to him. Or you can get a hand on it, or there's pressure on the ball, or they just don't see him. But you can't send him to the free throw line, even though he's not a great free throw shooter.
Inside 6 minutes now. 61 to 50, 11-point hole that Towson's trying to climb out of, make it 9. As Foster hits again, he's got 13.
You know, and Towson would love to turn UNCW over here with the press, but they really want to get them playing a little faster than they want to play, or shooting the ball a little quicker than they want to shoot it.
Talley with the ball, 4 fouls. Geddes has 3, Sherwood 3, Spruill has 4.
Hawkins on Geddes, but they can't get the ball to him.
7 on the shot clock. A little spin move by Ponder. Beautiful move, doesn't go down. Well, you're right. As far as going to the glass, Towson looks like a bunch of sharks.
They do go, and that time they went a little too hard and, again, picked up the foul. frustrating for Eddie Keith. You know, it's hard to get mad at a guy when he's just being really aggressive trying to get the basketball, whether it be a loose ball or a long rebound or whatever, and he picks up the foul doing that. It's hard as a coach to be upset with that.
Another miss on the front end of the bonus. Back.
That's another thing. Down the stretch, UNCW is going to have to knock their free throws down to maintain this league, too.
Just going to say it's back to single digits now. Rebounds even on the game. There's a whistle. As the Tigers are being aggressive on the offensive line, they're going back to the line, but they just can't hit their free throws.
Yeah, and I think Talley may have picked up his fifth foul.
So Talley, who's been averaging about 10 points since moving into the starting lineup conference play, he goes out scoreless tonight.
Yeah, very unusual in league play. He's averaging 10 points, 10.1 points a game. He's been very productive on the offensive end, and a really good free throw shooter, and a guy you want the ball in his hands down the stretch. Really does a nice job of taking care of the basketball. That's 56 assists coming into the night with only 35 turnovers. Really good assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah, number 7 in the conference in assists. That's 7 and climbing, it seems like, since he moved into that starting lineup.
And now they've got a bigger lineup on the floor with Ponder. He'll be the point guard, and Jackson will be the 2 guard. Both positions that they have played in the past, but it's not their normal position for this basketball team.
Eddie Keith knocks down the free throw. Mentioned only a freshman, but 1 of 12 from 3, 54% from the line. But he nicely knocks them both down.
Yeah, he was a little frustrated on the defensive end with some fouls, but made a nice offensive play right there to get to the free throw line and get 2 points.
Hey, Coach, we've got a lot of time, and we've got a 7-point ball game again.
Doesn't take much. That's when the coaches earn their money, too. Have the right people on the floor, get them in a position to do something good and take advantage of their talents.
Yeah, the Seahawks down to 6 now on the shot clock. They want to eat some clock, but they don't want to get out of their rhythm. They're down to 2. Sproul. That's an air ball. Shot clock violation.
Really good defensive possession that time by Towson. They handled the screen and roll. They handled the isolated post up for Geddes. And then they contested the shot at the end. Came away with the rebound, but shot clock violation. They played for the full 35. Coaches love that. This is Keith, 6'5", 220, just a freshman, but he can certainly bring it up and initiate the offense.
Another opportunity for Davis and company. Davis banks it off the glass.
You knew what was going to happen. A nice isolation. Dribble away from him. Throw it back to him. He's got a little bit of advantage. Going with a strong hand. Takes the contact and makes the basket. Really good play call by Pat Scarry right there. And a really good isolation for John Davis.
23 points for Davis. Wow. 66% isn't that egregious, but he wasn't even close. Just barely touched the net.
He'd be better off if he was having contact on the free throw.
You're right. Are you allowed to do that?
I don't think so.
Well, the Seahawks down a scoring drought. Last field goal at the 7:17 mark. We're down to 3:37. Inside 10 again.
And again, a really good defensive possession. Made a mistake right there, though.
Well, they're going to have to get it down on the line. You're right, Coach. They've been shooting it well from the free throw line tonight, but it looks like Williams is going back to the line with 21. They might be milking that clock too much. Are they out of their rhythm, maybe?
Yeah, but this time they bailed them out with the foul. Mike, Walter Foster, the 6'8" sophomore out of Atlanta, has really played well for Towson. Been a big part of keeping them close here in the second half. He's a good face-up shooter, a long-arm kid, good around the rim, but also good out to the free throw line. You see him very comfortable right there. They don't close out quick enough. Hesitates. They don't come get him. He knocks it down again. He's been a big part of their second half run.
3 in double figures. You see Davis there, 23. Hawkins in double figures. But no points from Gavrilovic or Tomáš Parker Rivera. I think that was huge for Pat Skerry. But that being said, it's only a 5-point ball game right now.
Yeah, with all that's gone wrong, for them to be down 5 with 3:28 to go, he has to feel actually pretty good about things.
I would think so. I mean, you look at the free throws for Towson, 11 of 26, so they've actually picked it up a little bit here in the second half, but 11 of 26, and they're down 5. And it seemed like just moments ago, but I guess it was more than moments, but the Seahawks had a 12-point lead at one juncture. But this young man here, Cedrick Williams, having a big game. Williams with 21 points. Big free throw there, 22 points and 14 rebounds.
Yeah, that's sometimes tough coming out of a timeout, but some guys like that. You relax a little bit more, have time to think about it, but he hits 1 out of 2.
So Williams, we talked about the fact the game started. He was only 136 points shy of 1,000 and 30 rebounds shy of 700. That's quite the career. Keith, very aggressive with the ball that time.
Yeah, Keith a little bigger and stronger than Freddie Jackson. I mean, that's about 40 pounds on him, and he took advantage of that and went one-on-one with his strong hand to the middle of the lane. Nice shot.
Speaking of Jackson, he's 1 for 10 tonight after averaging about 17.5 points over a 5-game stretch. Now keep in mind, he was nursing a bad ankle. 62-58. Jackson wanted to give it up to Williams. Instead, here come the Tigers. Morcell lays it down, and we've got a 2-point game.
Morcell, the freshman out of Fort Washington, Maryland, really was a nice finish.
Jackson goes down hard. Remember, he was nursing that ankle. Looked like he wanted to give it up to Williams right there, and he just...
Yeah, couldn't make the play. Morcell, hesitation.
So Morcell converts. It's a 2-point game, and Jackson, who did not start against the College of Charleston because of an ankle sprain, looks like he's reaching for that ankle again right there.
Yeah, and you've already got Jordan Talley out of the game. Jackson was playing the 2. Malik Pugh hasn't played tonight, the freshman out of Dyersburg, but he might be on call to come in this game. 6'1", 165, freshman out of Dyer County, out near Memphis, Tennessee.
That doesn't look good for Jackson.
No, he's not putting any weight on it. You know, sometimes that ankle, and it's wrapped up, stays pretty loose. You can play on it a little bit, but a lot of concerned looks there out of a real good student body in attendance tonight here at UNCW.
Very impressive crowd, and they should be concerned. As you pointed out, they had a 20-point lead with William and Mary. They lost that one by 4. They led by 12, and Pat Skerry's Tigers, they just kept scratching and clawing. No pun intended, but they got back into this game.
Yeah, and now they've gone with an even bigger lineup. Ponder's the only true guard on the floor. Sproul will be playing the 2 along with Sherwood, Geddes, and Williams. A real big lineup. We'll see if it's an effective lineup. It's a talented lineup for UNCW, but not a lineup I bet that's been together this year.
Last 2 or 3 possessions, Seahawks took the air out of the ball. It seems like they lost a little bit of their aggressiveness.
Ponder's really the only big-time driver on the floor.
Geddes inside with 5 on the shot clock, nowhere to go. Sproul, air ball, and that's the second shot clock violation now for the Seahawks.
Yeah, their offense is based on driving the basketball. Jackson driving it at the 3, Talley driving it at the 1, Ponder driving it at the 2. Now Ponder's the only one that's in there.
Tigers scoring run now, 12-1 since the 6:37 mark. The last field goal for the Seahawks at the 7:17. That was that big 3 by Sherwood when he was fouled.
That'll be Geddes on the block, I believe. Eddie Keith has played a much bigger role in this game than I think Pat Scarry anticipated, although he really likes him as a player. And don't forget, the Seahawks did have a big lead against William and Mary, a 22-point lead, 20-point halftime lead, and ended up losing that basketball game. But for the most part, they've won their close games, including 3 in overtime.
Yeah, really.
We're not supposed to mention the O word, right?
Yeah, you talk about the close games. 8 games decided by 7 points or less. They're 6-2 in those games, but right now they're tied at 62. And guess what? The Tigers did it by hitting a couple of free throws, Coach.
There's some more irony. Ponder has played the point. At least he's comfortable out there.
Ponder, he's going to be fouled. Wow! Continuation, no continuation.
No, I think that was the right call. He got up in the air, hung a little bit, protected the ball. You see a lot of coaches. We talked to Matt Matheny at Elon talking about the offense creating the contact. I don't know right there. Did he have the basketball?
Yeah, you're right.
It's really tough, depending on what angle you're looking at it.
I think you're right as far as I was wrong with the continuation call. 3-point play gives him 12. He's the third in double figures now. Geddes has 9. But more importantly, they pushed their lead to 3 again after they were tied up at 62.
Yeah, and obviously a huge play. The game was tied, and he makes a 3-point play. But Ponder's the one guy out there who's been in this position before, too. You know, he's a junior, but he's played this position. Even though he's a natural 2-guard, he can play the point, has played the point. Everybody else is kind of out of their element out there, and he just took the game over. He just took the game over. He said, I'll take care of this right here. And they didn't run a play. They didn't do anything. He just whipped his man one-on-one.
That's a great point. That's exactly what he did, too. Especially after I mentioned the last couple of possessions, they kind of took the air out of the ball. And he took matters into his own hands.
Yeah, he didn't wait till deep in the shot clock where somebody was going to have the ball in their hands and not be able to make a play. He just went ahead and made a play. Huge decision right there by a veteran guy out of Bluefield, West Virginia.
Less than 90 seconds to go now. Minute 29, 65-62. Mentioned both teams coming off of narrow victories earlier this week.
Foster helped out Eddie Keith. We talked about his ability to play the point guard position.
Davis with the spin to the left side, and there's a huge rebound by Spruill. And Spruill's fouled with 1:11 to go.
Davis thought he was fouled on the play. Things a little chippy out there. Let's see if he had any contact. He thought he got fouled right there on the right shoulder.
He might have had an argument there.
Yeah, and then Morcell thought he had a jump ball.
So Spruill coming off the bench. That means Kevin Keats 9 times has had a bench player score in double figures this year.
Yeah, and Spruill in league play has shot 82% from the free throw line.
You just jinxed him. Usually I'm jinxing him.
Yeah. I could be blamed for a lot, but not him missing a free throw.
Knocks down the second. He's got 15, and it's back to 4 at 66-62.
Foster's done a nice job of helping him break the press. See if they go to Davis or if they go to Keith.
Hawkins slices through the defense. Open look, and one again. Davis is going to the line. That gives him 25.
That's really an unselfish play. You got a wide open 15-footer, but you look down low for your stud. And he comes through with the made basket. Good pass again by Foster. Foster has just played a really good basketball game. But John Davis is who you want to have the basketball if you're the Towson Tigers.
Well, I mentioned Spruill coming off the bench. Well, speaking of bench points, this guy comes off the bench too. So it's 33-19 now bench points for Towson. Career high in points, 25 going for number 26 in the three-point play. He's got it.
And if they're going to win, he's going to have more on that career high, probably.
11 rebounds, 26 points. 1-point ball game with 40 seconds to go.
16 seconds difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Towson's going to get the ball back. Little bump on the hedge, not enough to call the foul. Good no call by the official, in my opinion. And this time, there was enough contact. Sproul went 1 for 2 last time.
Well, as you pointed out, he's an 82% shooter in conference play, so these are big for the senior from Curry, North Carolina.
And good on the season, about 70% on the season, but been exceptional in league play. We talked about it, you know, he was CAA Player of the Week last week, averaging 28 points and 7 rebounds. Came into the game playing with a lot of confidence, but didn't get to start.
Again, knocks down the second. We've got a 2-point game at 67-65 with 24 seconds to go.
Cedrick Williams is matched up against John Davis. No timeouts.
Defense really pushing him out. 11 seconds. This is a freshman with the basketball. 6 seconds. Inside 5. They lost the rock. Potter comes up with the basketball. That's going to be it. Wow.
And Pat Scarry said the one thing we can't do is turn the ball over. Late in the shot clock.
Tough break. Keith just slides on the floor.
Not much you can do about that. Late in the shot clock, he's trying to beat his man one-on-one. Crosses over. Just loses his footing.
Well, can we say that, safe to say that the Seahawks with 2.5 on the clock, you hate to say it's over, but they might have dodged the bullet here big time.
Yeah, and Sproul did a nice job right here. Addison Sproul stayed between him and the basket, made him have to change direction, and that's where he loses his footing and turns the ball over. Yeah, and we come down to a defensive play. We knew it wasn't going to come down to an offensive play, really. It was going to come down to a defensive play, and the Seahawks made that play. But a lot of things can happen in 2.5 seconds. Double bonus is a good thing. And you see the Seahawks fill in the lane. In case the ball comes off, they can contest the outlet dribble or pass.
Sproul misses the front end again. That's the 3rd time he's missed the first free throw, and he's the last 2 he's knocked down the second. Speaking of 3-point shooters, here comes one right now.
Yeah, Glenn comes back in.
Well, Kevin Keats, age 42. I think he probably feels like he tacked on a few years over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, when you move over that one chair and you're the guy making the decisions.
Here we go. 3-point game. And they threw it out of bounds. Pat Scarry.
Yeah, there's where not having the timeout did become a factor.
Threw it the length of the court. Well, they needed the 3, and I got to give it to Pat Scarry. He just kind of glanced at his player, but he kept his cool. So obviously nobody touched the ball. There's still 2.5 seconds to go.
Yeah, and they've got to inbound the basketball. And they, you know, you'd like to foul with the 2.5 on there, but you got to be really careful about that. You don't want to get an intentional foul. Then you have the free throws and they get the basketball.
So Towson coming off a 2-point win over Elon, trailing by 3 right now. They played Elon twice already. So that's that can't be right because they played Elon twice already. They beat them by 3 and beat them by 2.
Right. So if you're Pat Scarry, you appreciate the timeout. You at least can tell your people what you want to do. You'd love to hold on the cut. Just don't make it intentional. Don't let any time come off the clock. Now you got 2.5. and you can hope for the same situation you just had, a miss or two misses, and you got a chance to throw it to midcourt and maybe get a shot up. You're down 3. If he makes one of the two, it's really going to be next to impossible.
You know, Coach, you talk about Towson losing their top 4 scorers from last year. It's been a roller coaster. They opened up with a loss at Alabama. They won 7 straight. Then they lost 6 in a row. They beat Elon 57-53. Then they lose 4 in a row. They beat Elon 53-51. They were down by 12 in this game. They scratched their way back into it. I guess it's all a rebuilding and the growing process for Pat Skiri over there this year.
Yeah, and a lot of the freshmen have a lot to do with that because they're just not as consistent as you'd like for them to be.
Well, they fouled right away, as you said. 1.8 seconds to go on the clock now, and Sproul will have another opportunity to hit the first free throw this time. Sproul with 17, Williams with 22. Sproul now with 18. And it's now a 2-possession game, so that was huge. That's going to do it. 69-65. Seahawks dodge a bullet, but with the victory they go to 6-2, and they are now in a 3-way tie for first place in the CAA. So what does Pat Skiri take from this game, Coach, if anything at all?
Well, you know, Parker Rivera didn't get to play a lot, and they still found ways to stay in the game. You know, Eddie Keith really made some big plays. He had some negative plays, but he was comfortable in there trying to help them win the basketball game. You know, and they battled back. You know, there were several chances where they could have just gone on home, but they battled back and had several chances to win this basketball game.
Well, we'll try to talk to Kevin Keats if we can get him over here at the scoring table.